Hello and welcome into this guide on Black Bear for Silver Ridge Peaks. We're going to go over everything that you need to do for the grind on Silver Ridge. It's basically going to come down to zone selection, what lakes you're going to shoot, how you're going to manage your bears in a way to get them into place to be able to rotate on. There are some really good spots right now, and a really nice thing about it is that my tent locations, you can actually use the same exact ones in your grind, and they're really effective. So let's go ahead and jump over to the map and we will take a look and show you guys all the zone locations for Black Bear currently and where you need to set up. All right, here we are on the map, and as you can see, we're just stepping out of the tent. There is a zone here and one across here. We do have a 9 legendary over here in this zone. Every now and then on this lake, we do have a third pop over here, but it's pretty random when that happens. Let's just go ahead and pull up the map. The 4 lakes that you're going to be focusing on for this grind are at the top left. It is these 4 lakes right here. You have this top left one here, this smaller lake here, this one, and this one. Occasionally, I do have a bear that bounces down to this one, so I do have a collection tent here, and I do use the outpost to come over and check this corner zone right here. But for the most part, the bears stay at these 4 lakes. They just kind of bounce around between them. Hunting pressure doesn't seem to matter. I blow out these zones constantly and they do come back. Okay, so these 4 lakes are really consistent as far as their respawns go. One nice thing about it is you can shoot small bears from these zones as well as females. And when you do that, they do have a chance to bounce out to other ones. While you're setting up, you will be going around to all the other locations where bears can spawn, and you're going to be looking for your larger bears. Anything from level 4 and up, you're going to want to shoot in exterior lakes, while leaving anything larger on these 4 lakes here. I'm going to go ahead and pull up a zone map for you really quick, and you can take a look and actually see where all I have zones at currently and where they can potentially spawn. These lakes will all be the same for everyone. The lakes that do not have zones have not had zones, and I haven't seen anybody else with zones in those lakes, so you don't have to worry about those. So getting started in here, you're going to want to come in and set your time to 2200. What we found so far, me and several friends that actually grind this, are 2200 seems to be a really good time for bear spawns. I consistently have bears in my zones when I set that time, and it gives you quite a bit of time to rotate on the 4 lakes that are selected. What I do though is I don't actually do one rotation and just end it at that and exit to main menu. I'll continue rotating on these 4 lakes until the end of drink time. So once it finally hits 0, you can actually go back to your tent, set your time to 2200 again, exit to main menu, come back in, and continue your rotation. I suggest using these 4 lakes in your rotation, but also utilizing the outpost to check the other lakes around while you're shooting down your map, because you do have to get your larger bears from off these other lakes around in order to get these 4 lakes primed up for shooting. You just have to continuously basically shoot the small males off these 4 lakes and the females. Oftentimes you're going to run into mountain lion issues. You got to remember that they are a predator spawn as well, so when you kill them, they will actually respawn at other locations away from these 4 lakes to where eventually it becomes a non-existent issue, right? As I said before, the respawns here are consistent on these 4 lakes, and so you can actually use the same exact tent locations. And starting with this lake here, we'll go ahead and zoom in so you can see the tent placement. We have one up here on this hillside. I can shoot across to the 2 separate zones that are here. Like I said, there's not one here, but they do consistently respawn. So we'll go ahead and pop over here and take a look at the setup and just show you how to shoot it. All right, here we are, and there is a bear here. And then over here we have 2. We have a 9 and a 6 with an 8 right here. Once he gets into his drinking zone there, we will actually just go ahead and spot him. And it will pick up this zone again, but they are predators. They do bounce around through these lakes, so after we actually spot him and get that zone, it will delete again. There it is, and of course we will go ahead and take the shot on him. That's that one. There's the 9 right there. And we'll go ahead and put 2 into that one. And simply just fast travel over and collect. Here's the 9 legendary that we shot. And that is a diamond dark. It's max weight and max score. All right, moving up to the next lake, we have this top lake here. There's 2 zones with, again, the third over here that sometimes picks up a zone here, but it's not too often. All right, this lake right here has a very clear line of sight across to the other one. Again, we have a 9 over here. You can quickly light to make sure you have bear in the zone here. And we will take a shot on this 9 as well. And that's that one. Come across the other side over here, and we will look back to where we just came from, and we do have a 10 fabled. It's a chestnut with a 27 to 28 estimate on the opposite side. Other bears do come into this zone as well. Oftentimes they'll be coming down here or back on this other side. Every now and then they'll be out here on this point, but not too often over there as well. Let's check out this 9 though and see what his score is. 22.84, another diamond dark. All right, the third lake that we're gonna go to is right over here. I do use the outpost for this one with just 1 tree stand and the 1 tent over here for collection. Sometimes on this lake right here, there can be a zone on this side, so you do want to be aware of that when you jump to this outpost and come down to look. Sometimes there will be a bear in this zone here. Starting here, you just run out towards the road here and you'll cross right on over. Soon you'll see the tree stand that we have here and know the direction to go in order to get to it. Here we are. You can see the bears here. We have a 5, a 9, and I do believe we have another 9 down here as well. Right there. Come over here. You can basically sprint up to this tree stand and then jump into it. Once you're in here, you just turn over to the side here and start lining up on your targets. We'll probably just take 2 of these since this one is facing away and I don't want to botch that. So we'll go ahead and take this 5 and this 9 here. And those 2 are going down. So we'll go ahead and jump over to the tent here for collection. And there goes the 9 there. We do have the 2 bears here. We'll go ahead and pick them up. There's the 5. And we have our 9 right over here. There it is, 23.78 diamond black bear. And then on the 4th lake right here, you can really get away with using 1 tent here, especially early when you're starting your grind out and you're using your other tents to bounce around to the other lakes more efficiently. I have it set up like this because they do come into 2 separate zones here, and sometimes on this one they do spawn all the way over here even. That's why I have this tent set up over here. All right, you start the outpost up here on this one and look down across, just at a render for the most part here. But as I'm coming down here, I do look down here. See, we have a bear here. This is the one on this near side. These ones are a little bit more difficult to spot sometimes because they do hide behind the trees and whatnot. But from here, we will take the shot on this 5 and continue moving down. As we move a little further down, should come more into render and be looking out over here. But it doesn't look like we have anything here currently, which is fine. Again, they do bounce around between these lakes. Sometimes you'll come to a lake and it'll be empty. Sometimes it'll be loaded. It just depends on how the respawns pop in. But let's go ahead and pick up this one, and I will show you the 5th lake where I do sometimes get a bouncer down there and just show you how I deal with that one as well. All right, here's the 5th lake, and we will use the outpost here as well with only 1 tent per collection. From the outpost here, you just take a little bit of a detour over here to the right so you're not just running off the little bit of a cliff here. You don't want to take fall damage while you're doing this. And the zone that we're going to be looking for is right out here on the edge of this lake. And as we're coming down, we're just going to be glassing to see if we see a male bear down there. They're not always here, but again, it's one of those situations where they do bounce in here sometimes, and it's just good to keep your bears in the rotation as much as you can. There's usually 4 females, and again, sometimes 1 male. It actually doesn't look like he's here right now. We got our 4 females, so we did not get a respawn at this lake, and we will just continue on since we do have more time left in the drink zone. We'll come right back up to the top lake and shoot some more. Got a level 6 over here, 2 6s. So these are respawns in the same drink time. We'll jump back up here and we will take these shots. There's 2 more. And since there are none on the near side, we'll just fast travel right on over there and pick those 2 up. All right, here we are back at the top lake. And again, our respawns are right back in here. We are getting close to the end of the time. So what I will do is go ahead and reset the time. But we'll go back into the lodge. I do have a couple other things that I want to show you. We're going to go through the rare fur types, the great one fur types, as well as the black bear great one actually having its own medal. So a lot of people ask on counters on stream what the bronze logo is. That is for predator great ones, which the black bear have, and I will show you the difference right here. Here we are back at the lodge, and you can see on the great one black bear that they have their own individual medal over on the left side. And when you come over and you look at an antlered great one, they have their own medal as well. This is what they look like and differences between them. Now, I don't have any of my rare bears in this lodge, but what I'll do is I'll pull these up for you here. Starting with the first rare type is cinnamon black bear. These are the more common. It's like the piebald for whitetail and stuff like that. And then you also have the blonde and the brown for the rares for them. So these 3 rares are the ones you can expect to see. The brown is definitely hard to see at night. In fact, I never tell the difference until I actually pick them up. So that's something that you're going to want to look out for as you are out there and grinding for these guys. And then for the great one black bear, you have 6 different fur types. It's starting with the spirit, the cream. You have 2 variations of glacier. You have glacier 1 and glacier 2. You have spotted, and then you also have the chestnut. So these are the main fur types for the great ones and the rares that you can look forward to seeing during this grind. If you guys have any questions about the grind or anything like that, please feel free to leave a comment below. And if you liked the content, please consider subscribing and give me a follow on Twitch. All right, I will have the links in the description for you. And thanks so much for watching.